Hi, my name is Robert Schoenfeld. I'm not a historian, but I'm trying to write a book. Now let's talk about this book. It's called The Greatest Revolution. Now, why do you think it's called The Greatest Revolution? You can think of a lot of revolutions. The discovery of fire, that was a revolution. The discovery of wheels, that was a revolution. There were also a lot of other revolutions. There was the English Revolution of 1688. Then, of course, we have the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, and a whole lot of other things like that. We also have the Industrial Revolution. There was also a revolution in transportation, in communications. Well, let's talk about a specific period, which I've considered the greatest revolution, 1775 to 1925. So let's take a look at an example. Suppose we took somebody from Athens in the year 250 before the Common Era, and they brought him to Athens of the year 1750. Would he be able to acclimate? Probably very easy. There'd be very few differences. Number one, he'd have to learn about what he might call a fire stick, a rifle, or excuse me, or a gun. Of course, they didn't have that in 2,000 years before. And the religion is slightly different. The Acropolis is still there, but it's been damaged by gunfire, by the Turks. But other than that, what differences are you going to find? People are still riding on horses. They're still going around in carriages or walking. And most of the people are involved in agriculture. So he would easily, and in fact, when he started talking to them in his dialect at that point, he would be understood, and he could understood the people of 1750, the Greek at least. So now let's take something else, a much shorter period. Let's take someone, from New York in 1775. No, there's a lot of things about people are dissatisfied with the British and all kinds of stuff. Nothing has really happened. And we're talking about early 1775, in the spring, say March of 1775. Now let's take them out of that era, out of March of 1775, and let's bring them to March of 1925. So let's see how he would come. First of all, he's going to see horseless carriages, cars. This alone will pop his eyes out. Trains. The ability to get on a train and go at a very fast speed. For him, 50, 60 miles an hour. Unbelievable. Even the cars can go 50 or 60 miles an hour. You have the subway in Manhattan, going down and getting on a train. I mean, this was unbelievable. If he saw about firearms, a revolver, never even thought of about this. Then he goes up, they show him a telephone, he picks it up. You want to talk to someone in California? Now he's wondering, where is California? It's on the West Coast, something like Los Angeles. San Francisco was nothing at that point. He says, I'm not sure. It says it's part of Spain. Oh, and he knows that Spain controls the West Coast. He picks it up, and there's someone speaking English from California. Oh, you want to you want to find out what's going on in England? He says, yeah. They go, let's go to the telegraph office. And the telegraph off to someone in England. A few minutes later, there's a reply. It tells him what's going on right at that particular moment. His eyes are popping. Another thing is he may not even be able to understand all the language, because in that period, English accumulated a lot of words. There was no such word as telegraph or telephone. And then when you start talking about, he asked what that, it looks like a piece of wood with knobs on it. Oh, that's a radio. What's a radio? Turns one knob, then tunes the other, and all of a sudden he's hearing music coming out or talking. Where is that coming from? Oh, it's coming from a station down wherever. It might even be coming from anywhere in the country. And his eyes are really popping. If he can understand even some of this stuff. He doesn't know the word radio. He doesn't know a lot of the words. Railroad, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand what macadam is or tar for paving. And he's looking, and he is so confused. It says, well, they'll bring him down to Lower Manhattan and say, here's Francis Tavern. He says, I know Francis Tavern. But what are all these tall buildings? How do you get to the top? They take him in, push a button, door opens up. As I remember, at that particular point in Lower Manhattan, there's an elevator operator. Goes in, say, come in. Let's go to the 40th floor. The elevator operator says, okay. Closes the door. In this case, it may be a gate, and you can see the shaft, and he sees us going. He sees the car going all the way up. He's in the car, and he sees us passing doors. He comes out, and they take him to a window, and he's looking out, and he is completely mystified how this was all done. None of which was the buildings that he was familiar with were maybe 2 or maybe 3 stories at most in Lower Manhattan. That New York even extends, it used to extend roughly Houston Street in Lower Manhattan at most, which is Greenwich Village, which was actually a separate village at the time. Now you see what the greatest revolution is about. Defining each of these revolutions, communications. Oh, and I think one other thing. They'll say, what about the king's governor? They say, no, we elect our own governor. And we have a United States. And we also elect people, the president, who's the head of the United States, the executive, chief executive of the United States. And we elect a Congress. Well, he knew what a Congress was. They had the Continental Congress, which says, no, this is different from the Continental Congress. There are 2 separate houses. You have the House of Representatives, which is based upon population, and you have the Senate, which is based upon the states. And he's looking at what is a state. Well, they say, remember the 13 colonies? Those became states, and then additional states on. And they say, how many states are there now? 48. The U.S. extends from coast to coast. And now he's really in awe. Now this is a revolution to everything that I just mentioned is a revolution to him. And he doesn't know, and we have to explain to it. And this is what I call the greatest revolution. I'm going to do more chapters on this, and I'm going to add on each of these individual subjects, including government, communications, transportation, etc., and try to talk about it and add to this. Thank you very much for listening.